Virgin. Beauty. Bitch. Podcast. Inspiring women to overcome social stereotypes and share unique life experiences without fear of being defiantly different. Your hosts, Christopher and Heather. Let's talk, shall we?
Fate can be ironic in that the people who can make all the difference in our fate in life are the people we don't get to choose. No one chooses their family of origin. Some are born into unconditional love or abundance, while others must endure abuse, neglect, or worse. Our family can make us or break us. But our guest today is living proof that how we begin in life doesn't have to determine our fate throughout our lives. We welcome two-time international best-selling author, creator, speaker, intuitive mentor, and CEO, Felicity Nicole to VIRGIN.BEAUTY.B. Welcome, Felicity.
Thank you for having me. You both are beautiful souls. I'm excited.
We reflect that right back at you.
Yes. Yes.
Felicity, we don't know one another, but I can tell you right now that it is very easy to like you. Do you know why?
Why?
I can count on one finger the people I know who have lived a charmed childhood. The rest of us either hide our truth behind a wall of shame, or we use it as a sympathy magnet, while others share it with bitterness and hate. You do none of the above. Maybe you can share some of your origin story, and from there we can get into how you made it your fuel and not your fate.
I love that. What a beautiful question. So I am a childhood trauma domestic violence survivor. I witnessed my father attempt to murder my mom at the age of 10. And from there, I just grew up in a highly toxic, dysfunctional family. I'm 47. I'll be 48 in May. I have been emotionally, mentally, physically, and unfortunately sexually abused pretty much the majority of my life. Yes. Um, but what you said earlier is in regards to the bitterness or hiding behind that is I've managed to face those demons, that generational trauma. I became that cycle breaker in my family. And that was in order to help my son. It's really about him. Yeah. Yeah.
So in a cycle, somewhat, you were created by your forebears to be who you are, but in your son, you saw hope of being something else and bringing
Yeah,
something else.
I
That's
do.
powerful. That's powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. I think as a mother, or just in general, with somebody that we love, right? We don't necessarily have to be a mother. It could be a best friend or another family member that, we sacrifice well, I'll sacrifice. We sacrifice for the better good of them. And so, he too has a lot of his own baggage, and that's for him to tell if he decides to ever share his story. But I've done all of this for my son because he has a new road to go onto that's free of the boxes that family curses or ancestral trauma will put us into.
I mean, everything that you've taken from your experiences as a child and how it's fueled who you are today, and to really encourage women to discover their own inner wisdom. It's honestly uplifting to hear all the times that you've spoken and the way that you're very personable with even a wide, broad audience. And I'm just wondering from the work that you've done, like for women who have either, as Christopher said, kind of been held under shame, or I think that one of the emerging things that happened after that Giselle case in France is the narrative that shame needs to switch sides. And that the more that women or people who have been abused are cloaked in the shame of their perpetrator, that it just allows for a lot more violence to continue. So in that transition for you, or perhaps an ongoing evolution, what was that like for you, or continues to be like, to not have the shame cloak you, but to instead inform finding your deeper wisdom?
Yes, I am an alchemist, right? So we have two choices. We can either sit in this, and I can, like we discussed earlier, and I can just play the victim and live the life that was given to me, or that was designed for me, or I can be the voice to myself, and I can take all of that pain, all of that deep therapy that I've done, all of those dark moments I've had to face, and I can alchemize all that through healing into something more powerful. And that is the gift of my voice. I am the voice for all of those that haven't had the courage to speak out yet. And that's what that's the platform. That's what it's about. It's medicine for the soul.
Felicity, is that innate in all of us? Or what is it that broke the seal for you to go from being the victim, being a victim of fate, and being someone who is creating their own fate?
You have to find it. We all have it within us, right? So I had to find it during that dark moment. And that was in my first marriage to my ex-husband, who was severely abusive. It's in our solar plexus. It's our power center, and that's where the flame is. And I was able to see just a tidbit of it, and I knew that God had something more in store for me. I could feel it. The nudges were being, I don't want to say nudged to me, but were being spoken to me, whispered to me. As somebody who is born and raised Catholic, I'm very spiritual, very gifted. So I could hear this, I could feel this. I knew I was meant for something more. So I just had to take the bull by the horns and just start slowly but surely peeling back the layers of the onion. Because it's painful to just face it head on, all that.
So how did you start doing that, to peel back those layers when you don't, like, people are scared to start peeling them back? Like, was there coaching or just an internal dive that you did? But how did you facilitate that within yourself to get it started?
Absolutely. What a great question. And I like to use humor. So we're going to make I'll tell you a really funny story about all of this. So I started simply with affirmations and meditation. That was it. And then I started with a therapist. And with therapy, they're only going to push you so much until you're ready to peel that onion. So here I am doing my affirmations, doing my meditations, going through therapy, and then I'm healing, surface level healing. It wasn't until I was in how do you want to say it? Group program, let's say. My husband and I decided to try this group therapeutic program. And I write about this it's in my book, Pieces of Me. And it's something that kids will walk through. It's basically from a therapeutic boarding school that moms and dads will send their kids to that are in need of some deep help themselves. So I'm like, yeah, this is fun. Let's do this. We'll be out in Utah. We're going to have fun. It's 3 days. After the first half of the first day, I was on the phone with my doctor. And I'm like, I'm in St. George, and you're going to have to call me in some Xanax, because I don't know if I need to check myself into an emergency room, but I can't breathe and I'm being suffocated. And I just want to run, and I just want to have a cigarette, and I can't deal with this. And these therapists at this therapeutic boarding school, they exactly knew what I was going through, and they made me sit through it. They made me sit through the pain and face it and talk me through it. And it was the hardest thing to face. When you go 40 plus years in life, just doing that surface based healing. But when you finally decide, yeah, let's do this, let's be a piece of cake. But to face those demons and realize, like, wow, I've been abandoned by my mother my whole entire life. like this person in my family did this. Like, those are some deep rooted, yes, chords that need to be cut. It was tough.
I find that so helpful. Like, thank you for sharing it, because sometimes to know where to start is such a challenge. So to hear that it started with daily affirmations and meditation, we talk about that a lot on the show as such a entry point into the soul and into the heart and into the mind. So to hear that that's where it started for you, and then continuing to layer more experiences and opportunities, albeit painful, to help walk that path with you. It helps to paint a picture of what can help other people. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yes.
There's something that else you had to overcome or pass through or break out of. And your second book is about this. Forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What was forgiveness like for you, that experience?
I just feel like love coming out of my heart as I just think about it. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. As hard as it is. So just think of an ex-husband. Just think of those moments of those people that have really hurt you. And a lot of people hold on to these grudges and these memories. And I don't think they understand the full capacity that when we're holding on to this, we're allowing them to still have power over us. So on my healing journey, as I'm doing this deep work, and facing the reality that I have a second marriage that's coming to an end and a closure, that I am able to look at all these people in my life that have played parts, significant parts, significant lessons that have been taught to me in these seasons, and push past that pain where there's the unconditional love and just set them free, because ultimately you're setting yourself free. It's the only way that I can explain it, is being able to set yourself free, and they no longer hold that bondage over you, and to be able to say, I love you and I forgive you. And thank you for teaching me those lessons, because they were hard. They were painful. My second husband by far was, what a beautiful relationship and friendship, but I was taught some of the hardest lessons. But at the end of the day, I know my value and my self-worth. I love myself. I didn't have any of that. I had to reparent all those archetypes that we'll get into. Yes.
I think that bridges so beautifully with what you've shared on your website and in your book around the evolving nature of relationships. And as you outline, especially in your 40s and 50s, with an emphasis on building connections based on friendship and mutual respect. But what I also really love about what you wrote is that you mentioned the rise of elevated standards and the importance of personal growth. And I think those elevated standards come from exactly what you just spoke towards, that very like worked upon sense of self, that you're not looking to others to determine your value, and how that helps you to show up in relationships in a completely different way. So I'm wondering your thoughts on setting higher standards in relationships and how that's contributed to a more fulfilling life.
Okay, so in regards to setting the higher standard, so I'm new to this now, right? So I'm coming out of that second marriage. But in regards to discovering this and setting higher standards in just relationships in general, basic friendships, I'm going to give you an energetic exchange of love and support and gratitude. I expect that to be in return. And if it doesn't, then I know how to set a firmer boundary. Yes, energetically and just physically. we keep things maybe a little more surface based in those relationships, but the relationships that I can really nurture and support and grow, most definitely. There is so much love then that we have in those friendships that they're family to me now. Yes. And now, as I embark on this part two journey that I have, I'm not looking to hop into a relationship. That's not it. But my standards and expectations, I don't want to say expectations because I hate putting the word expectations on it, but just the standards that I have for myself. I know yes, they're very high. The value. I know my worth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if somebody can't see that, then they have to go.
So do you believe you could have found that without the pain and the trials of the relationships that you had to go through? Did you have to go through the war zone to get to peace?
Good question. So we could go two ways. I could say no. I could have learned right away as a young adult. However, I believe God put me on this path for a specific reason. And the path that I've been given, the cross that I've had to bear for this long, like I stated earlier, has taught me all these beautiful lessons in a very painful, hard way, yet it's meant to be medicine for somebody else's soul, to be that teacher for somebody else. I believe this was all, I honestly do believe this was all orchestrated. I believe we contract our lives out, to be honest with you, if we want to go down that route. Yeah, we're going to go there. Let's just go there. I believe I signed up for this. I believe I had some karmic lessons that needed to be paid off and some debt. And I've told God, I said, I don't want to come back human next time, put me as yeah. But I really do. I think that there were some definite karmic debts that needed to be paid and some lessons that I had to learn in this lifetime so I don't have to repeat it next time. Yes.
Well, I think that's I think that there's a deeper knowing with when you experience those sort of hardships that it's not about sympathizing with others. You can truly empathize in the heart of like the darkness of the soul with somebody who's walked through that valley. And there's a way that you resonate with people who are going through that I feel that someone who hasn't gone through it just won't have that experience to be able to share. So of course, we don't wish, I wouldn't wish any of that on anyone, but for the people who have gone through it, the camaraderie that you can find in seeing someone who's gone through it too and risen out of it, not be burdened down by the shame when shame really should be on the switch sides. I think that it's immensely powerful. So I just honor what you said there.
Thank you. It's compassion. We have to have grace and compassion. And if I could walk amongst somebody that's going through the same thing and hold space for them with compassion and grace, absolutely. I'm your partner. Yeah. That's what healers do. That's what we do. Yeah.
So is that the foundation for She Is You? She Is You?
Yes. So I didn't have a place to turn to when I started my healing journey. I started with meditation and affirmations. Maybe popped a meditation on YouTube and, all that good stuff. And then when I queried my book, Pieces of Me, right before COVID, I heard back from somebody in New York, and it was the best experience ever. Tell you how determined I am. I got this letter and they're like, thank you for your interest. Nobody knows who you are, and memoirs are hard to sell. And I took this as not a no, but like give me a minute here. Like hold my beer. I'll be right back.
Challenge accepted.
Yes, I got a brand to build. I have to get on social media, and this has all been like self-invested, self-paid. It's maybe not the beautiful orchestrated, but it's me doing this and a little team that I have behind me that supports me and loves me. And they've been with me from the very beginning. And it happened and I was picked up And the best part about the pickup from the publisher that I got picked up was I'm spiritually gifted, and I had a dream, and sometimes these dreams are just maybe visions, we'll say. Okay. So I had this dream of a pink envelope coming in the mail with a certain font. And I woke up and I'm like, it's here, it's here. I told my husband, it's here, it's here, it's coming. I'm going to be picked up. But you have to remember, spirit works on a different timeline. So I'm very impatient, and I think that's one of my lessons that I am being taught this season in this lifetime. I'm like, okay, check in the mailbox. When is it gonna come? And then I had the message. I received an email, and it was the pink letterhead in her business with the font, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I had to share that story with her. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, this is what I saw a year and a half ago. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Something that we love to ask our guests, Felicity, and I think there's something very powerful to your story in how you view this, but we love to ask our guests, what does feminine mean to you?
Oh, I love it because I'm asking for this. Feminine is that energy where we are in a state of receiving. We sit back and we are open to receiving. We birth ideas, creativity, life, nurture. We support. It's just this beautiful light of receiving and birthing and creation. That to me is the feminine energy. Something I need more of, something that I'm learning to tap into when I can.
How do you find that in this chapter of your life that you're exploring your feminine energy or tapping into it in new ways? Like, what helps you to breathe in, cultivating that? Because I think that often we live in a very masculinized world, and I think a lot of people are looking to understand what feminine means in each of us in a world that has distorted it. And so I'm interested in how you're kind of enjoying that piece of yourself.
I love it. That is by far one of the awesome questions that I've heard in such a long time. Because we do live in a society that makes us have to armor up as women. And so I highly recommend to all my clients, get into dance, get into a woman's circle, go to a drumming ceremony and just let that feminine just dance it out because that's your sacral chakra that's going to open up. That's your Kundalini energy. Tap into that, tap into art, self-care, journaling, be able to mentally think on your drive home from work, you're just placing that masculine energy in the passenger seat. And when you enter those doors, you are now the feminine, whether it's mom, wife, and just soften up. Self-care. For me, it's like the drumming circles and all those fun things. I love it because it's that Kundalini energy, that fire that starts to just build up and breathe and just release and let out. And it's beautiful, especially with a group of women.
I enjoy that so much. I feel like art and even the ways that we conceptualize our next move, there's the offspring of our loins, that the feminine, but there's also the offspring of our mind and our heart. And so I think connecting to those pieces that feel very feminine for me as well. It's important to me when I get home, and I really try to exercise ways to bring that into my work life because my work can be very hypermasculine. So I think introducing that kind of energy to the working world, I think that it's a challenge, but it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference.
Do you think we're going to see a shift? I think we'll see a shift.
I think so.
I hope. Yeah,
I do.
That is what this show is all about. It is an aiding and having that shift conscious. That's why we talk about these topics. The one thing that I would caution is that a lot of people, when they hear the word masculine or think of the energy of masculine, they think primarily, if not exclusively, of female. And it is an energy. And it is within, doesn't matter the sex or the gender, it is accessible to everyone and can be expressed and needs to be expressed by everyone, including men. So I want to definitely put that on the table as well.
I agree completely.
Yeah. Bringing that yin and yang back to this 21st century that we're in, that's within each of us. And part of that is, the flip side of the coin of normally when we hear about masculinity, it's in the sense predominantly, I feel these days is what toxic masculinity is. But emerging trends with, men who are more involved with their families, men who are not wanting to get attention or control through abuse, like these ways of honoring the masculine within us as well, that isn't about domination, aggression, and control, but about perhaps structure and, direction. Because I feel like, not that you can ever put these things in a nutshell because they are so vast, but I feel for me, if I had to do that, it would be that the feminine is the being and the masculine is the doing. And that both of those in us are so very important.
I would only change one word. Instead of toxic, which has become sort of a catchphrase for everything, I would say the rewarded masculine.
Well, that's a good one.
That's a good one. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a topic.
Is it ever?
Yes.
Ooh, Christopher, mic drop. Okay.
I know. I'm like, you just stole the show.
Right?
A rewarded masculine. You are 100% right. Maybe it's time we do pull away from that and start giving credit to the men out there that are doing that are staying at home and working from home. Or my brother is a stay-at-home father. His wife is the one that works. It's a balance. He's got a business. He's growing, and he's definitely not toxic. Yeah, I love it.
That's really nice to hear. The other thing that we love to ask our guest, Felicity, is if there's one, or if all three resonate for you, or one in particular, of the virgin, the beauty, and the bitch. If there's a visceral response, or what that word means to you now or over time, we love that feedback from our guests.
I think it's pretty. When I think of virgin, I go to Mary Magdalene. I don't know why. There's a purity with that. When it comes to the beauty, I think of the feminine. It just everything that we emulate. And then when when we think about the bitch, that's the dark femme in me. That's a dark femme. Yeah, yes, exactly. Yes. That's the dark femme, the Latina side of me.
We love that side. We love that side.
Yes. We have to tame her, but yes.
But she can't be tamed, which is part of the fun.
You are so spot on with that. I've had men tell me that are really close guy friends of mine that are just like, the wild needs to come out. The wild needs to be set free. And that has been resonating so strong with me. That'll be part 2.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I'm getting chills right now because it feels so right. That feels so
yes.
good.
Yeah. The constriction that we've been in for so long, right?
For so long. Such rigid confines and
It's interesting that before we started this recording, that you and I, Felicity, were talking about your upcoming and being on TED TV at some point.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And we talked about your having a vocal coach and trying to open up the other side of you. I think that's the side of you you're trying to reach.
You got it.
When you're on stage for your TED TV, that's the side of you that you're trying to, show the world.
It's wild.
There. It's there.
Yeah, it is. She's got to be set free. That's my goal in this season.
Fantastic.
Yes. I love it. This is
love that.
Yes.
So I mean, we would love to be able to share how do people find out more about you? Where can our listeners tune into your story, find your books, all of the platforms that they may be able to get to know you better and the amazing
Absolutely.
healing work that you bring?
Yes, absolutely. So you could visit Amazon or my website for my books. The Higher Consciousness Approach to Forgiveness should be released, I would say, within the next few months. In regards to my website, she'syouMag.com, FelicityNicole.com, and then just follow me, Instagram, Felicity Nicole, at Felicity Nicole or however you put those. But we have my face, you'll see it there, see it everywhere. TikTok, I love it all. Yes. I think if we could just come authentically ourselves.
Absolutely.
We are big into that.
Yeah.
So we started this conversation. I started this conversation by saying that I don't even know you, but I like you already. And now that we've talked for a few minutes here, I like you even more.
Christopher, God bless you. Thank you.
You are
I
an
love it.
incredible human being, and what you have come through and the way that you have alchemized your pain into what it is now that you use to help others is absolutely priceless.
It is. Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot to me. Thank you. It's a gift.
It's been such a pleasure to have you join us today. Thank you, Felicity. It's been a joy and fun.
Thank you. It has been. Thank you once again. I love it.
And you have been listening to
The Virgin,
The Beauty,
and the Dark Femme Bitch. We're letting her out.
Yes, we are.
Find us, like us, share us. You want to come on back because we're going to have more of this. Deeper, darker, lighter, all of it. Come on back.